First Saturday of the meet here at Century Downs. Josh Murphy joining me. We'll take a look at the late pick 4 races 6 through 9 on that Saturday afternoon card. No, obviously no guarantees in that pool, but hopefully we can get around $4,000 up for grabs. Have a look at the sequence. Again, races 6 through 9. Let's start in race number 6, and let's kind of focus on the outside here, Josh, and the 9 horse at I'm a Mama's Boy, a big winner last time out.
Yeah, I should get a nice trip in here, gets that trailing 9-hole. Brandon gets aggressive here, puts him right back in, does fit with a Alberta extra win, so one of those horses with 2 wins. I know there's a few others with some B wins and stuff, but you do get some horses that have only won 1 race lifetime, and I'm a Mama's Boy was very impressive last week. Had that nice kind of pocket spot and exploded away to win by 6 lengths, 56-1. If he races back to that, it's going to be very hard to beat. I think there's a few other alternative contenders you can have here. I mean, HF Shadow Racer is the second choice. The other kind of one I lean towards a little is Chasing Shadows, the filly out of the Rod Hennessy barn, dropping out of the straights. Mike did take that one over HF Shadow Racer, who he's driven a bunch recently. Just should get a good trip from the rail. I thought it's raced well. You look at some horses, Jesse's Girl, Evermore Legacy. This is a bit of a step down against some of these claiming boys and girls she'll face today. So I think those are kind of the 2 I'm keen in on. How did you see this one, Matt?
Yeah, I do agree that the horse to beat is obviously the 9 horse, but will Brandon be able to work a trip without much speed in front of him there? He's got to follow the 1 or the 2, and neither of them are that quick off the wings.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting point. Chasing Shadows doesn't really seem to, even you look at Track on 2 back on July 5th when she drew the 2-hole, she only got away 3rd there, didn't have a ton of speed. I think her best races are going to kind of to make a backstretch blast kind of thing. I don't think she wants to be super involved. And Starflight, I don't think is that way either. I think it's going to be kind of an interesting driver's race. I think I'm a Mama's Boy. It can adjust passing horses in the past when you look back on his form. But, I mean, I'd be a little dubious if a horse that probably 9 to 5 could go off even less. I think I want Chasing Shadows just kind of as another horse, especially in this first leg here, that I think might be a reasonable alternative at probably a pretty fair price if they do zoom in on the favorite.
Another full field here in race number 7, 9 with an also, and probably want to look towards the middle of the field here for your contenders. The favorite is the 4, Make Some Waves for Dave Kelly, and this guy has been pounded at the windows of late, 2 to 5, 3 to 5, 4 to 5, 6 to 5. Really hasn't disappointed much either. Had a 4-race win streak snapped, was 2nd and 3rd in his last 2. Can you go back to him, or are you leaning Major Mac?
I think Major Mac, I think, has an opportunity to improve a little here. I mean, you look at the 8-hole last time, sent hard by Mike, and just got a little tired. Burnt Promises came from the back of the pack that day to win. So I think that was kind of a tough effort there. And you look prior to that, the Lacombe start race decent to Wits Beach, and then did actually win this non-2 condition 3 back at a big price. I think this horse draws well. I think he's got some gate speed. I know King of the West probably can send a little from the inside, but I think Major Mac can work out a better trip. I very much respect Make Some Waves, but I don't love him enough to single him, and I just kind of scary for a horse that's been under even money 3 starts in a row, and he hasn't won his last 2. I know he's raced very well, but he still hasn't won his last 2, and he's been a short price both times. I think there's a few kind of contenders in here that if Make Some Waves does get beat, that I think you could kind of get rewarded decently.
Took a little while to break his maiden in 11 starts there for some time somewhere, but did get it done last time out, rocketed off to the front, was able to hold sway there in the stretch. Anybody pressure him today, or does he work out a pretty good trip?
I think Major Mac and King of the West are both going to go. I'm not sure how hard Keith will want to send sometime somewhere. I mean, Major Mac does have some serious gate speed, I think, if he wants. King of the West, I know, kind of can race from off of it as well. He's drawn the rail his last 2 starts. I mean, 2 back at this level. He did have the lead at the first point to call. The other horse that's a little interesting, he didn't draw great, but Leisure Suit Larry for Jerry Houdon looks to be a nice young horse. I mean, last time had the trailing 9-hole. Tried to work out a bit of a trip because it was a little flat, but you look 2 back in this condition, was bet down heavy, and he's been competitive with this group. I'm not sure if the 7-hole is the place where he'll win this non-2, but I think he'll probably be a little ignored as these outside posts are at Century Downs, and he's talented enough. I mean, he was bet down against a similar group before. Maybe if Phil can work out the right trip, he's going to be one that's 10+ to 1 that does have the talent. Whether he gets the trip would be the big question.
So we talked about the pace scenario here sometime somewhere. Leisure Suit Larry won't be too far away. The inside Major Mac's going to go. Make Some Waves not far away either. This is a race that Burnt Promises won from well off the pace last time out. What about the outside pair in here? Do you give them a shot? Burnt Promises all this with some stock and pounce ability?
I can understand anyone that would. Personally, I don't think I'd go back to Burnt Promises. I mean, it was a good drive by Brian last week to get him just timed the wire perfectly there. 57 was a good mile, but the 8 hole just makes it tougher here. I mean, I just think there's too many other alternative horses that have better posts than, and all this is his first start against the winners here coming out of the maiden. That I don't know. I just thought he kind of got a perfect trip in that maiden race. Brandon does drive back, though. Obviously, anytime Brandon's driving something, the public does like to play Brandon. So I think those are 2 horses that I can understand why you'd use, but for me, I'm kind of going against them.
Race number 8, another field of 9, and another short price probably looming here. Keith Clark and Phil Giesberg with Ocean Wind was topped last time out, but has dropped back in for $8,000 here today.
Yeah, this one's second off the claim for Keith. Jumped up a level last time to that 12-5, 1801 group, was favored, but got a ways back. Her past 2 races have been front end missions, and she looked very good doing that since coming out from the coast in the Chris Lancaster barn. Won even for a 5 condition claimer prior to that. Had kind of been on a great streak, and I mean, just got a ways out of it last time. She still came home pretty well. You look, was 13 back at the stretch call and only finished 5 3/4 back, so it was flying late, but just didn't quite get it done. But the class drop, I think, will be all that she needs. I mean, you look at her prices when she's been in this kind of mix. I know there's not a ton of non-6 fillies here, and the filly mare 8s are they kind of have to go together every once in a while to get some races to go. But I think Ocean Wind's the logical contender. Did you kind of see anyone else to throw on your ticket?
Yeah, I think the other Keith Clark's another one we can look at. But going back to her last race, obviously the trouble early got her well behind. But a horse like Miss Sue Wiggins would be 1 to 5 in this spot.
She's looked very good, Miss Sue Wiggins. The past couple of weeks, she's really improved. Yeah, I mean, that's just Stash the Cookies, a stake winner. I mean, You Talk Too Much, another very nice horse out of the Keith Clark barn. I mean, this is major class relief, no doubt.
So the other one, speaking of Keith Clark, is the 5 you want to have a look at in Rockin' with Lou. Was one of those non-6 horses here today, actually a non-4, I believe, lifetime, but should fit well with these.
Yeah, she was in a group with Ocean Wind 2 back, if you look at that, and they loved her. They bet her down to under even money. She had a really rough trip that day. She was parked for the first half of it and just kind of got tired. But, I mean, she's still in kind of the thick of it at the head of the lane. He just kind of got tired. Keith wrapped up on her little. Obviously wasn't going to get a ton done that day after getting parked, that he saved her for next start. And, I mean, raced a decent one out of the 7 hole against the non-4s last time. Thinking of you, babe. Looked good that day. I think Rockin' with Lou's a logical alternative. The other kind of one that, not that I'm reaching much here, looking at 3 to 1, is Northfield Nelly for Brandon Campbell. Left pretty hard against this group out of the 8 hole. I expect this one to probably be on the lead. I mean, she cleared to the front from the 8, drawn the rail now. I think that's going to help. Was bet down. Although I think this is a bit tougher field, though. That last one didn't have Ocean Wind in it. Last one didn't have Rockin' with Lou in it. So I think this is a bit tougher group for Northfield Nelly, but the post is also a major improvement.
Anchor of the card is race number 9, fillies and mares non-2, and I think the 2 you want to key in on are the inside pair, LA Woman and Bearcat Abigail. I think we differ here, but I think you're going to head to the inside in LA Woman.
Yeah, I've kind of been chasing LA Woman all year. I thought she had a very good 2-year-old season, and even you look this year on her form, you look, the horse she's finished behind, Alexis Queen, Treasure Horizon, Miss iTunes. I mean, she's kept company with some very, very good horses. It's a driver change to Dave Kelly, who can't seem to do anything wrong right now. And I just think she's got some tactical gate speed. I think she'll be probably in front or very close to it. And I mean, the other one I did have, though, was Bearcat Abigail. What made you go that way, Matt?
You mentioned the driver change, and Jamie's pretty loyal. I mean, he drives a lot for Ratchford, drives a lot for Stouty. So I don't think there's anything to really look at in there. And obviously Dave's not a letdown, but I did like that race 2 back where she was second to Snow Shark. She made the final of the Princess, and I mean, nobody was beating Miss iTunes that day. She was much the best. But I think that effort and just her ability to sit and wait and let everything else kind of happen in front of her and make that move through the stretch will be the one that gets it done here for Bearcat Abigail. She gets speed inside and outside of her. I think she gets a great trip from the 2 hole.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of Stouty's horses start to race very well. Jesse's Girls really pieced it together. I mean, you got horses that have come off some layoffs that maybe needed a bit of time to race into shape. And Bearcat Abigail showed some very good promise early in her 2-year-old year, and kind of near the end of the year looked like she had a few issues and kind of got put away. But she's come back strong, and I think, yeah, that was a good effort in the final. Those Miss iTunes and Snow Shark, Blue Star Dreaming, like you say, this is a massive class relief from them. Those are non-4, non-6 type fillies that can throw down in 53 and change. And I don't think anyone in here is going to do that. I think this is a good spot for Bearcat Abigail. And I do like the fact that she's going to be more of a price in LA woman. So, I mean, there's a couple good things there, but I kind of keyed in on those two. I didn't think there's really anyone else that I thought was a major threat, especially in the last leg. I didn't want to be spread too deep here. If I get to this leg and have these two, I think I'll feel pretty confident.
So if you had to go wide in one leg, I think we can probably look at the 7th race as the one you want to have a few more in.
I kind of went there, yeah. I mean, I could make a case for King of the West, and I could make a case for Leisure Suit Larry. Even
Major Mac, make some waves.
Yes, I mean, I think make some waves. No disrespect to him at all, but a horse, anytime you see a horse that's been under even money 2 starts in a row and hasn't won in either of those starts, despite losing by a half length to Chaz Michael, who raced very well in the stake final last week, I just think make some waves. I mean, I respect him, but I think there's a few other talented ones in here that maybe can improve or work out some good trips, like Major Mac we touched on with the post improvement. And I think there's a few other ones that make some waves, always will get bet. And if you can kind of get this, even the 3rd choice in that race, I think you'll get a 10-1 type horse. And that can really, especially with that dollar base on the pick 4, it doesn't take much to spice it up.
That was the race last week that caused that early pick 4 carryover to go into that late pick 4 on Tuesday afternoon. So we'll see if there's more fireworks in race number 7. Again, pick 4 on Saturday afternoon, races 6 through 9. No guarantee, but should be a decent sized pool there as the days move to Saturday and Tuesday at Century Downs.